Welcome back to Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. Now, artificial intelligence has stepped into the creative world with a force that both amazes and disturbs. It writes stories, composes poems, and builds character that sometimes feel strangely human. But can a machine understand heartbreak, culture, or the silence between words? Or is it just copying patterns from our emotions without ever feeling them? As AI changes the way stories are told and poems are written, the big question is, can technology coexist with human soul in art? Now, joining us via Zoom to discuss about this is Dr. Bashiru Sunday Amuneni, popularly known as Dr. Bash. He's an architect, poet in residence at Portsmouth Football Club, and a program director of Abuja Literary Society. You're welcome to Daybreak Extra, Dr. Bash.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on this program with you. And I'm very excited to discuss this topic. It's one topic that is very valid, very needed based on the times that we're in. And I'm sure we would enjoy talking about this.
Thank you so much, Bash, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so let's dive into the discussion. We're talking about AI, helping in writing creatively. Now we can see that, like you rightly mentioned, it is already taking over a lot of things. But if AI could learn your writing style perfectly, will you feel honored, or will you feel replaced as a writer?
That's a very interesting question. Will you feel honored or will you feel replaced? I think we should be glad that we have AI. Um, I would try to tackle this question from two angles, from the optimistic angle and also from the critical angle. I would be optimistic. Every new innovation always comes with problems. It's the way of the universe, it's the way of life. For every new innovation we have, there will be associated problems. Remember when computers came in, we now started having viruses. When we had social media, we now started to check social media because it had its excesses, and some people were using social media the wrong way. So for every new innovation, there will always be problems. And so it's the same thing with AI and creative writing. We are glad we have it because it sort of helps writing. I would say in terms of editing, proofreading, the speed of writing, and sometimes to rejig your memory as a writer when you're suffering maybe a little writer's block. So it's both a great opportunity and also not great. But it can't take away the writer because the writer is the authentic human being. The writer is the human, and every human have their authentic experience, their authentic emotions, and a computer cannot give you experience, pure human experience. A computer cannot give you that emotion in language, that tenderness, and the realness of the situation. So I do not think AI would replace writers. But I do think, and I'm very hopeful that AI would support writers to churn out better works, and more, speed in writing, and all of those other great stuff that AI can support writing with.
Okay, Dr. Bash, so
Yeah.
based on what you just said, you view AI, you don't really view AI as a disruptive force that threatens traditional writing skills, or as a new powerful tool that writers should shy away from, but rather see AI as something writers and poets should embrace to explore new forms of expression.
Yes, that's what I think. I think it's just right we embrace it. The world is moving forward. The world is heading in that direction. It'll be very odd for you to not connect with the new movement. I would say a writer should understand how to use AI to sort of support their writing. As much as it feels scary because it is new and we're unsure of what it can do or what cannot do, that fear is very valid, is normal. But I would always say look at it from the brighter side. I mean, the illusion of originality is how do I put this? Original. Well, the question is originality an illusion? No, the authentic human experience can never be replaced by AI. It's like saying at some point humans will get off the planet and robots will be roaming around the streets and doing everything. It is still not. It will never happen. I do not think it will happen. That is why we are humans, and we should always just find a way to help ourselves by using the innovations that we have created. Besides, AI was created by humans, so I would say writers should use AI for the right cause, but not completely now depend on AI to do their writing.
I agree with you
Yeah.
when you said not completely depending on AI to do their writing. And that brings me to, think of asking you this. Do you think AI can ever capture, the unsaid emotions, especially when it comes to writing between lines that even human writers struggle to write?
I mean, the human emotion is authentically human. Emotions are not things you can sort of create when they are not authentic. How do I explain this? I mean, if I'm writing a poem about death, if I really want to get the character or the poem to be as original as possible, I would most likely be writing from I most likely would have experienced a loss of a loved one to be able to capture that emotion most appropriately and most authentically. So is the act there has to be an action before you can create a proper piece of writing, whether it's poetry, whether it's prose, out of it. We don't just write from nowhere. We write from experience, we write from memory, we write from the future as well. So that original thought, which is purely human, can never. I think that's like what we have above every other thing as a species on Earth. That original human essence can never be erased or replaced or duplicated as authentic as it is by anything, whether AI, whether robots, whether any other thing that will be created as we go into the future. Yeah.
So, Dr. Bash, what do you think is the
Yes.
future of literature with AI? Because most people of this generation right now relies heavily on AI. So, what is your prediction about the
Yeah.
future about this whole thing?
All right. For me, the future will be more collaborative writing. So we might see something like I called it. Have a note here. I called it hybrid imaginations. So we might now have a book written and co-authored by an AI assistant. In that sense, I also took out some things. We would always also have materials that are probably pure edited by AI. You might not need to get an editor anymore. We might also have books that are translated from one language to another language strictly by AI, no human intervention. I like that idea. That sounds very exciting to me. I can write in English or I can write in Hausa and get AI to translate it to French or Spanish and share it with my French or Spanish audience. That's a very good one. I think that's a fantastic plus to all of this. The future, again, I would say, I mean, the speed of writing, the speed of editing, AI should help us with that. And if a writer is suffering from writer's block, it's always great you can use AI to just sort of rejig your memory and get you back on things. So yeah, for me, those are just the things I put down as the future of writing and AI. So we are looking forward to a future, an era of expansion and amplification of the writer and the writing craft itself.
All right, Bash, so how would you react now if an AI won poetry competition, like against human poets? Because you are a poet, so how would you react to that?
Well, if it's an organic competition, and someone put in the material that was written by AI, it is actually it's an issue because if the judges are not able to, I mean, the judges are human, so if the judges are not able to like sniff the AI imprint or the AI impressions or AI influence in that writing, and finally give the award to the winner, and maybe later in the day or later it was found out that the writer actually used AI to put together the material, then it's a situation that we would have to deal with, at that time somehow. I was before I came on this interview. I stumbled upon a video of the group that used to, if you guys can remember, there was a group back in the 80s and 90s that had someone voice their own music, but they would come on stage and lip sync. And they were found out later in life that they were not actually the ones that had the voice to their music, and they had sold out stadiums and sold out multiple records and all of that. And it was the situation at that time. In fact, it was so bad that one of the group, when they were found out, had committed suicide, because of all of the trauma and all of that. Coming on to 2025 and where we are now, people now, use AI to sing. People now lip sync and all of that. And it's not a situation anymore. But back then, it was a taboo. It was a big, big deal. So we might have to get to a point where there will now be AI assisted prize competition. I'm looking at the future. And yeah, we might get there. I think we will get there because AI is not going back. I think we will get there, really. Yeah, I'll just stop at that.
Okay, Dr. Bash, let's talk about your literary society. What are the discussions
Yeah,
within
thank you.
this society regarding the use of AI
Yeah.
tools among aspiring and established writers? And as a director, are there any guidelines or ethical frameworks being considered in the society? In your
Yeah,
society?
we are looking at that. Currently, we're putting together some competition, to end the year and also start 2026. And in the board of trustees of the Abuja Literary Society, we have some very senior writers. We are discussing it already and looking at how do we nick this, how do we know when a writing is AI influenced or 100% AI. And we're still at the infant stage of all of this documents and discussions and policies. But I do hope that as we get into 2026 proper, possibly the first quarter, we'll be sorted with all of those arrangements just to be sure that our members are not left behind, and our members do understand that we have an opinion about AI and writing, and we do think that the original writer should not be lost in all of this mix. Yeah, thank you.
But Bash, how do you think AI will change the concept of literary ownership and copyright in the next coming years?
Okay, when it comes to copywriting and intellectual property, as a country, Nigeria is just about putting together its intellectual property code and all of that. We will work. I was in the meeting when that was being discussed at the World Intellectual Property Office at the UN in Abuja. And we need a lot of people to come together in terms of this. This is not something I can. It's a policy document, the policy situation now. You need all of the professionals, all of the intellectual property experts and the writers to come together and really, really put together something that would cover the stretch of what AI can do. But I do think that there will still be leakages. What I mean is, we don't know what this machine will do. It's amazing what humans can create, and we can't even say what this can do to us. So we don't know where AI will take us when it comes to creative writing. We can only do our best as professionals, as writers, as policy stakeholders in all of this. But I do know that we are working towards something. I do not have the fine prints right here, but I do know that we will try our best to create something that's like a blanket policy statement that would help all of us in general as it regards AI, intellectual property, and ownership. Yeah.
Now, Dr. Bash, do you believe the value of a poem lies primarily in the final product, that's the text itself, or in the human process of creation? That's the struggle and the inspiration and the personal journey, or you think something else?
I like that question. I think it's both. I think it's both. First, you must have that original thought. You must have that compelling story or that compelling issue you want to touch on with your writing. Then, of course, you need to now write it. First, it comes to a draft. Then, of course, you need great editors to do their work as editors. Then it moves on to publishing. You need to find a proper publisher that can get your work out there. So it's a fine combination of the process. So first, that authentic thought, that idea, that creativity from the writer, which is purely the writer's idea. Then the writer has to put down the draft, put something together, create a manuscript. Then it moves on to the editors. Then from the editors, it moves on to the publisher. So yeah, everything really comes together. You can't really separate that whole work of literature, because at the end of the day, it's like a process, that now forms a fine whole, and is now celebrated as possibly a great work of writing. Yeah.
So, do you think future generation will, care when it comes to writing poems or writing scripts or plays by a machine, as far as it moves them?
Do I think this question is so tricky? The human experience, like I would always go back to that authentic. Let's just look at the concept of love. Do we think AI can express love better than how a human can express love to another human? I don't think so. I mean, the human experience, ability to express is beyond what a machine can put together. Now, AI really just thrives on our ideas. Let's not forget. At the end of the day, it's actually human-fed ideas from archives, from history, from memory, from the internet, wherever, that AI brings together and gives to you. So it's not like AI is giving us something that is authentically AI. At the end of the day, it's actually human archives being dug up and shared back to you. But what AI does is it just makes it easy to get and makes it clean and fine and just quite, methodical in terms of what it offers you when you do impute your questions or your research, whatever. But the authentic human self, I would always say, would remain. I do not think at some point young people would just want to listen to poems created by AI, or want to listen to any form of creativity that is expressed by AI. We just need to understand that AI is here to amplify everything. Just like I'm speaking with you, beautiful people, by Zoom, it is an artificial intelligence platform. I mean, it's still a platform that is now assisting us to be able to do this interview virtually. It has not taken anything away from the authenticity of the interview or the authenticity of the station. So we must. It's very easy to sort of just move between the lines and forget that at the end of the day, it is us humans that make all of this possible.
Okay, Dr. Baj, as a literary
Yeah.
community, how do you leverage the opportunities AI offer, like expanded accessibility or idea generation, while simultaneously
Yeah.
safeguarding the authenticity and originality of human authors? And one thing I wanted to ask you again is, how do you understand when an AI writes a poem? How do you understand it's originally from AI and not human?
Yeah, there are certain has certain shortfalls, unfortunately. So for us that understand how it works, there's a language style. There's always that. How do I explain it? Always is it that this or that? It comes in that cadence. It like AI likes a lot of short forms. So you would see you instead of you, like YOU and ARE. AI is always you apostrophe RE. AI is a master short form platform, and AI always has that the long M dashes, which are clear, they're like a clearest giveaway when you're using AI. And there's just something about the sentence structuring that doesn't feel raw and original. A human should write and have some one or two errors here and there, one or two language and tenses situation here and there. But with AI, it's almost perfect, and that is where we sort of can pick certain things, and it's just always that clear giveaway. There's something quite what's the word? It's almost like the machination of language. You just know it's a bit too mechanical, and yeah, and that's always a giveaway when you're writing with AI.
So, Dr. Bash, if
Yeah.
how do I put this question now? So, if a story, right?
Yeah.
If a reader, should I say, couldn't differentiate whether a story is being written by a human or an AI, will that change the value of the story?
Well, if a reader can't I mean, there are a lot of readers that might not be able to. It's normal. It takes someone that understands how AI works to know when a work is AI influenced. I wouldn't say it takes away the authenticity of the story. I wouldn't say that. I mean, if you enjoy a story, it's your enjoyment. I wouldn't come and say, "Oh, this thing is written by AI. You shouldn't enjoy it." No, it's wrong. Lately I've been listening to some AI songs online, and it's so nice, to be honest. So I would not come and say, "Don't enjoy a story because it was AI written." No, you have every right to enjoy what you want to enjoy. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would say that.
So, can you expatiate on, I'm still trying to understand how you can, because right now, like you said, I understand that you said AI gives ideas, but we've seen people, especially in social media, that says they ask AI about their love lives, and AI gives them what to write and how to express emotions. And here you are saying, there's how you understand the emotionless in writing when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
Please, can you just a little bit expand on that, expatiate on that to understand, so for more understanding?
Okay. For me, I've been writing for many years, and I can tell when a work is AI influenced. I mean, a layman. No, I don't like using that word layman, but someone that is not a writer might not get it. And there's certain emotions, like if I'm talking about music, well, we're talking about love here now. I have a couple of that are that topic, love. And the style of writing is very personal because I was writing with a love interest in my mind. And when we're writing about a love interest, you might have to now talk about that person. You're talking about that person's hair. You're talking about her, possibly how she looks, how she carries herself, possibly where she is from, the food she likes eating. Certain things are quite personal to that person, just so that the person knows this material is really about you. That's not what AI can do. AI would always give you that generic expression of love. So if someone just wants to write something that's generic, AI of course can give you that. But if I want to write something that's specific, really specific to a particular human being, now we're talking about love. It cannot be as AI cannot give you something that is as authentic as what I would write as a writer for that particular love interest. So that's the angle I was coming from. I don't know if I have to give examples here, but if I'm talking about you're wearing something in green, you have glasses on, and there's a way I would describe it because it's about you, heartfelt from me. I do not think AI can do that. But the challenge I would always say we have is people that are not pure writers might not understand when a writing is actually AI influenced. But a writer knows that this is not really or deeply authentic in that sense. And there are levels to writing. At the very base level, AI can play around, but there are levels you get to as a professional writer. AI cannot dare give you what you want. We know these things. It's so at the generic level, at the primary level, yeah, it can work for anybody, but yeah, levels you get to in writing that it's not just AI cannot. Yeah. I mean, you cannot place what quality of work that people like Chimamanda or Wole Soyinka would have done or have done and try to get AI to rewrite it. So it will not work. It's never going to work. So yeah, there are levels to this, and yeah, that's just what I'm trying to say. in
So,
essence.
Bash, before we let you go, let me put this. Earlier, you mentioned as a writer, you can actually write in different languages, probably Hausa, English, like you said, or even in your indigenous language. But do you think AI can actually reserve indigenous language and even dying languages, when it comes to creative writing projects?
Yeah, that would be a fine idea, to be honest. I've never even thought about it that way. When you mentioned dying language, because there are a couple of languages in Nigeria that in the next 50 years, they might go extinct. I'm pretty sure, because you've got very little tribes in small corners of Nigeria. In my state, I'm originally from Nasarawa State, and there are a couple of tribes that have actually they've disappeared. In fact, my tribe, we're barely 100,000 people now, and if you just have 100,000 people and you have literally 50% of them migrating out of home, you know that in the next 50 to 100 years, that language might not exist again. So if we be using AI to archive languages, that would be fantastic. I mean, that is a positive use of AI. Even though it might not translate it as authentic as we might think, but it is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea, to have something. And I agree with you on that one. And I think it's a great idea if it
All
will
right.
be explored in any way.
All right, Dr. Bash, in 2 minutes, for those that are rely heavily on AI, is using AI for writing considered plagiarism or a form of academic dishonesty? For
I
those
would say
that
it's a
rely
form of
heavily on AI.
yeah, I would say it's a form of creative or academic dishonesty, but it's not plagiarism, because plagiarism is you are copying someone's authentic work. So maybe another author's work, you
Okay,
copy it without,
okay.
just purely copy 100% and claim it as yours. That is plagiarism on a basic definition of it. So using AI is not plagiarism. Is an assisted machine writing. Yeah, so basically that. But I would say in the context of creativity, then I would say using AI to write is academic dishonesty in the context of that. But if you use it to assist yourself in writing, maybe not really. But again, the question would always be how much assistance is too much assistance, or how much assisted AI writing is too much assisted AI writing. That is a very vague place to be, and I do not have the answers to that right now. But yeah, as we go, we'll all get better. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Bash Amuneni, for joining us this morning. I mean,
Thank
congratulations
you.
on, doctor being added to your name. It's a great achievement.
Thank you
Not when
very
you were here, there was
much.
no doctor, but now there's
Thank
doctor.
you.
And I'm
It's
sure
always
you'll
it's
learn
always
so
a
much more
pleasure to be here with you.
from that
Always.
acquirement. So congratulations to you once again.
Thank you.
All
Take
right, so
care
we've
and
been discussing
yeah.
with
Bye
Dr.
bye.
Bash Amuneni. He's an architect, poet in residence and Post-Mouth Football Club and program director of Abuja Literary Society. And I'm sure you've learned one or two things from this discussion. But then let's go on a quick break. And when we return, we'll take a look at what the social media platform is saying today.